Well, hey there, it's Elka, and welcome to this very special series. It's a three-part series that we are doing here as part of the Jen and Elka show. And you'll notice that Jen is missing. It's because I'm actually at work, like working from my house right now because I only have power because I have a generator at my house. We have a huge snowstorm here in Nova Scotia, and everybody's power is off. It's been off for 24 hours. And so this is exciting. Thank God I have a generator because I'm not feeling any pain, but everyone else around me is without power. So I'm doing this solo, which is going to be exciting. And I want as much participation as possible. If you are part of our 7-part series, then you know the drill. We're going to talk about certain pieces. We're going to start the conversation. And these are here for you to really understand. And this is actually very Zazzle focused. Usually we talk about print on demand, although we love Zazzle, which is a print on demand platform. We want to focus this 3-part series, which is happening today, tomorrow, and the next day, on Zazzle very specifically, because a lot of our followers want that information and we're here to give it to you. Okay. And today we've got some people on, everyone's saying hello. Everyone's okay. It's just that we don't have power except for me. So that's all good. And we're just digging out from like a good amount of snow. It was freezing rain, and then it dropped a good foot of snow, which is interesting, especially in this area that doesn't expect snow. It's usually melting pretty quickly. Okay, so today's topic: why most Zazzle sellers never get consistent sales and what can change that. Who is excited about hearing this topic? And we've got a couple of people on. Make it really exciting for everyone to join by like saying, what do you think? Like, why? And tell us what you're doing. Like, is it currently your issue that you're not getting consistent sales, or are you getting consistent sales? And yeah, this is the conversation we're having today, and I'm excited to get into it. I've got some points. I'm going to read off of a script to some point, but I want more interaction from you, because we charge $1,000 an hour. We just got off 5 coaching calls today. Each of those people paid us $1,000. I am not going to give you exactly what they got today, but I'm here to discuss it on a higher level term. And I want to hear from you, because you're spending an hour with me that normally I would charge $1,000 for. And the reason that I even pay those amounts of money to me is because I get them the results. I get them consistent sales. I get them to scale 2 to 10 times what they're currently making, no matter where they are in their Zazzle business. They could be a diamond pro designer, or they can be a person who's never even opened up their store. And I am very good at making people more money on the Zazzle platform. Obviously, I can't make any income claims, and I do see a couple people that I have, like one is a brand new student. Hello, Elena. And the other, we've known each other for quite some time, CG Penna. But it depends a lot on a lot of different factors, which is actually one of the reasons we want to talk about all this today. And I think I'm bright enough, but I'm just going to do one more thing here to help me with the lighting. The weather keeps changing there. That's brighter, isn't it? Okay. It's a very gray day, but that'll help. And then Srini also is a new student. Hello, my sales have been improved, but still not where I want them to be. That's a good place to be, right? When you're in that growth trajectory, which is really good. And I don't know what I want to, like how I want to identify you, but I'll just say CG Penna, because I know your real name, but I know that you also just want to stay with that. Sales have become inconsistent over the past year or so. That's really good that you know that, because first of all, then you can do something about it, right? You've done strategy number 5, which is analyze your store. And that inconsistency is the red flag, and should be like something that's a warning sign for you to jump right back into those 5 strategies and understand where things are going awry. I can right away guess that it might be your earnings are also inconsistent, because you're maybe not leveraging what you do have as a seller, and making sure that you're compensating for that change that we just had with the ambassador program payout changing in April of 2025. But on the other hand, there are a lot of people that we coached over the last year in 2025 that made up for that, like within the last first 2-3 months the changes were made, and they've like doubled, tripled their income even since then, because it's no longer an issue for them, right? Whereas if it's just sales in general that are no longer working for you and that they're spotty, then it's because whatever you're used to offer is either being pushed out by someone who's offering something better, or people don't want that stuff anymore, right? Those are the two options. They're just like regular things that we know are very clear. I don't even have to know what your products are in your store, but look at those two pieces to see where that might be the truth. Okay. So thank you so much for putting all these comments in. And we've got Ruth here, brand new to this and looking to grow here with your guidance. I'm happy that you're here, and I hope you learn a lot from this. So, okay, thank you so much for starting and getting this conversation going. Keep it going. I'm manning everything all by myself, but now I'm going to go and start with the points that I wanted to make here. Make sure that I get those done, and then in between, keep the comments coming, and I will address them if I can. And also, in between, I'll stop and I'll ask more questions, because what we really need to do is bring alignment to what's happening, right? Alignment, even if it's not working for you the way you want it to, we want to align what the truth is with what's happening so that you can do something about it. And then more than likely, there's a way to do something about it. And I've got some options, obviously, for you. Like I just mentioned, there's some people who jump right in to our $1,000 a month coaching program because they go like, I just need it now. I want this much money being made at a certain time period, and I've got to put the work in, and I don't have time to goof around. And then others are going like, well, I'll just try to see what your free stuff is all about, and I'll see if I like it. And that's like perfectly fine. It just depends on what you want as a transformation so that you can get where you want to go from where you are now to where you want to be, right? That bridge. All right, so let's start with the first point. Ooh, and I have one more, and Dolores is here. I made about 40 products this weekend, and I got a sale. And Dolores, that is huge for you. Okay, so Dolores has been with us for a while, and now that you're focused and you've got the Profit by Design Academy playbook going, you obviously knew what you were doing halfway through the PDA. Good for you. Okay, now it's paying off, right? This is awesome. Okay, I love that. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so here we go. Let's just introduce this properly. First of all, welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. I am doing the solo if you joined late, because Nova Scotia is pretty much without power except for me, because I have a generator. And so Jen isn't able to be here, but obviously she's here in spirit. And thankfully we organized all this earlier, so I know exactly what to say. And I've got a plan and a script, and I'm also here to be I'm excited to just chat with you here as well if you're on live, because these points that I'm going to make are going to hit home hard, and they're really important that you understand that you have a chance to talk to me here as to what you might need to do about it, okay? Or also just like on an even a higher level scale of what you want to do to make 2026 the best year ever, okay? And if you're catching me on the replay, make sure you watch this one and all the way through, because today's conversation sets the foundation for everything we're going to talk about over the next few days, okay? So, and yes, if you're watching this replay, double check that you also come to the next two. And if you can't make it live, just watch all the replays so you get the full training. Okay. And today I want to talk about something that we see constantly with the Zazzle sellers that we coach, whether that's in the course in the Profit by Design Academy, which we've now added a month of coaching to, or in the our one-on-one coaching, which I just spent all morning doing coaching calls, which I love because everyone's doing so well. It's awesome. I'm really happy for them. And also our higher level masterminds, and our newest, which is the Scale Society, which is just coming into fruition. And if you're interested, if you're one of the silver and gold pro designers, then that's something that we're building out for you, and you can be our founding, whatever you call it, the founding members in that. But here, I'm not here to pitch. I'm here to explain that we obviously have you covered at all levels if you're ready and willing, and depending on what you want to do, okay? Because if you're not selling, you don't have a business, okay? And if it's inconsistent and feeling that way for you, then there's obviously something that's awry, right? So you're uploading products, you're trying to stay motivated, you're seeing a few sales here and there, just like Dolores just did, but you're never seeing, you're not feeling like you've cracked the code with that consistent selling, right? And if that's you, put it in the chat, because yes, I'm going to look at the chat in a minute, but I'm doing my script first, which I'm teleprompting here. We want you to know, and then personally, I am here live with you today, that we want you to know something right away. And this is to help you, because the first thing we do as empaths and creatives is take everything personally. And most sellers are not failing because they're bad designers. In fact, they're awesome designers. They're not so great at business. And they're not failing because they're lazy. Absolutely not. We have seen so many people work so long and so hard and be very diligent, and they're still not working. It's still not selling for them, right? And they're not failing because Zazzle doesn't work. Let's just get that out of the way. There's so many people that come to like send me these emails that go like, I hate Zazzle. I'm never doing it again. I don't want to do it ever more. I hate it. It's Zazzle doesn't work. And it's like, absolutely it works, because they've been in business almost 20 years, if not longer. And they're making a ton of money off of people's designs that are uploaded. So it's just your designs that are not uploaded that are not selling. But why is that? We'll get to that, and we'll work through that, okay? So you can't blame Zazzle. You can't blame it. You can't blame you working hard because you're doing that. You can't blame you because you're a bad designer. It's just that they're failing because, and you're failing possibly because you're doing things out of order, okay? And this is the really strangest thing to say, because now you're going to go like, what the heck does that mean? Who misunderstands, like who doesn't understand that it's out of order? Okay. Congratulations, Dolores. Yes, exactly. Okay. I know the comments are a little bit in a lag. But understand this. Whether you're a good designer or not, and I'm not teleprompting my stuff right now, I'm talking to you face to face. Our top seller who we've coached in this, this is Brandon, if you've heard me talk about Brandon, and there's a ton of videos out there. There's YouTube videos, there's blog posts, there's his progression over the first couple of years. Well, this gentleman is almost at the $1 million mark now, and that's all due to the results of, and this is earnings, that's all due to the results of us teaching him what to do in order. And he's absolutely better at design now, but he was terrible at design when he started. And that didn't stop him from starting to earn a lot more money, even before he became better at designing, okay? So it's not designing that has to come first. That's the order that everyone forgets. It is setting up the foundations of your business and making sure that your business is going to serve your customer so that you have something that people want to give you money for, okay? And once that order changes and your thought process changes, you're going to also be so much better off. So keep that in mind while we're going through, and let me know in the comments if you realize now that you've been doing it out of order. Okay. And so I'll get to the first point, and I'm also going to put the little banner on that I made up here. Hold on a second, because my first point is that there's a big misconception. Okay, so let's move into that. One of the biggest misconceptions in print on demand is the idea that if you just upload enough products, sales will eventually come. So people think, I'm just going to keep designing, I'm going to keep uploading, I'll stay consistent long enough. Eventually the algorithm will reward me. But here's the truth. Effort alone does not create sales. Consistency alone does not create sales. And a good design alone does not create sales. What creates sales is intention. We see sellers working incredibly hard, putting in hours every week and still feeling stuck. And that's not because they're not capable. Okay. It's because effort without direction creates exhaustion, not results. So let me say that again. Effort without direction creates exhaustion, not results. So who feels that? Who feels that? Because then what happens, it's a frustration, right? This is why so many sellers feel frustrated, and they're doing something every day, but they don't know if it's the right thing. Can you relate to that? Okay. I want you to relate. I want you to let me know if you relate to that. And I want to talk about it because this is a huge thing. So first of all, who felt like you're personally responsible for your failure at not getting consistent sales? I want to know that. Please say yes or me, no in the chat. Be honest. It's like an AA meeting here. If you admit, then we can move on and start helping you. But if you feel like, oh, it's got to be some external factor or something, I've already tried enough and I don't know how to do it any other way. So Dolores says absolutely. But Dolores, you're one of the ones that could speak to this, right? You could say now what's happening after you've been part of our training as to that it wasn't really just you, right? You're good. You have really great ideas. And your choice in design is, not mainstream at the moment. But if you created a following, it would start to sell, right? But until you get on Zazzle with like people following you and they come directly because they know Dolores, then just like with your Bernedoodle, then you're not going to get that traffic on Zazzle. And so therefore you have to shift a little bit and shift to what the customer wants rather than what you think people should be buying from you, right? Okay. And Ruth says, yes, I need direction. Okay. So another misconception is like we as creatives, and I mentioned this earlier, if we don't see a result, we are measuring ourselves as the result being the sales, right? And so we basically go, I think this is what I need to do, and here's the result I'm expecting. But the path in between is only whatever we've already learned as a path without really knowing whether or not it's the path that actually will get us there. Okay? And because we're doing a whole bunch of things that we take personally, like working hard, designing, keep trying, we're just being really good people, trying our best. And then if we don't get the result, we start to emotionally feel different ways, right? Frustration, down on ourselves, telling ourselves we're not good enough, we're not worthy enough, we're never supposed to earn that amount of money. Or we go outside and we go like, Zazzle's terrible. I don't like print on demand. There's too much competition. You can't compete now. When Elka and Jen started, that's when I should have started because now I can't compete. And it's not true. Some of the people that we just helped coach someone from $0 to $50,000 in earnings in the last 14 months. And that's earnings. That's not sales because she wanted us to teach her how to do it, and she just stepped all in and she did it in the right order and she got the results. And that happened in 2025. It started in October 2024, and by Christmas of 2025 she had made $50,000 in earnings. Pretty good, right? And so understand that it's not just some of these external factors, it's what you're choosing as a path to get from one to the other, right? And the structure. Okay. Thank you so much for posting. And Dolores, don't text and drive. Okay. All right. So point number 2, please stay safe. Okay. I'm going to do the next banner. So let's have a look at the next thing that I want to talk about, which is why sales feel inconsistent. So here's what we see almost every time we look at a store that feels inconsistent. There's no clear customer. There's no clear reason a product exists. And there's no intentional sequence behind what's being created. Okay, so all three of these points are so huge. I'm going to just say them again. There's no clear customer. And yes, as soon as we get onto the Zazzle platform or any print-on-demand platform, we think in terms of lack or missing out. So we think, okay, we better design for everybody. But who knows that saying that if you do anything for everybody, you'll please nobody? And it's the same with targeting a customer. If you target everybody, you'll target nobody. And so therefore, the whole focus on the store that you have is not focused on anything. And so you can't get focused enough in order to be able to succeed. Because it's in this day and age, it's not just a matter of, I'm going to make a t-shirt, for people who love dogs. There's a gazillion t-shirts that have dogs on them and are for dog lovers. How are you going to target your customer and target them specifically? If you don't have that vision yet, then that's the first problem, right? You're not targeting a clear customer. Even when you have a clear customer, you got to go deeper, right? And that's where the second point comes in, is there's no clear reason a product exists. So you think, okay, I'll just make a t-shirt with I'm a dog lover, for example. But then there's so many other t-shirts out there. Why would they buy mine? I don't know. And so it's not a clear reason as to why I'm a dog lover, except that seemed like the easiest thing to do because everyone else is selling those. And I see that everybody else is selling those. But how am I supposed to have my product stand out and be in demand more than once in order for me to sell this product and make it worth my while that I did the product in the first place? Okay. And then the third point is that there's no intentional sequence behind what's being created. So if we just step right back to square number one, where it's no clear customer, but if we knew the customer's journey, I'm going to get a dog, and that dog is going to be a puppy. And then maybe I'm going to, as a customer, I want to something for my puppy. I want a dog dish. I want a collar. I want a leash. I want a picture of the dog on my t-shirt. I want it on my phone because I love this puppy. He's so cute, right? Then we have a clear intentional sequence of what to create for that person because they're in that evolution of, I got a dog as a puppy. I'm a new dog owner. I love the thing to death. And I'm going to just geek out on everything that has a cute puppy picture on it. So cute. Okay. So now we have a clear path and a sequence of why we needed to make those products. Not just, I have a design, I found it on Creative Fabrica, and I'm going to stick it on everything. Okay. So instead it looks like this idea sounds good. This trend looks popular. I like this quote. I'll try this product type. Okay. And none of those things are bad on their own. But when they're not connected to a bigger strategy that feels scattered to you and to the platform, then Zazzle doesn't reward that randomness. It rewards clarity. And that we've been very clear on because we've done the thing where we push products out there and none of them even take hold. They don't even have a view ever. And then we all of a sudden have a very directional approach, and we don't even make a lot of products, but all of a sudden they start to sell because they're very purposeful. They're very intentional, which is our lovely word that we love to use. That is truly encompassing everything that we're talking about right here in this point. And then when the platform understands who you're selling to, what you sell, and why your products matter, the visibility increases. The learning speeds up, not only for the customer, but also for the algorithm that's going to showcase your products to the customers. And then sales start to make more sense. Okay, does that make sense? Please put in the chat. Visibility, just understand. When the platform understands who you're selling to, don't forget, even whenever you post a product, it asks you, who's this product for? If you say for anyone, you're not targeted enough. If you say for new puppy owners, which is actually not one of the options they have, but you get my drift, then it's a targeted product. Okay? What you sell, I'm not going to sell, well, maybe I would sell like a duvet cover with my dog's picture on it if I was a really complete lover of my dog, but the likelihood of them buying a duvet cover or me buying a duvet cover as a customer is not as likely as maybe they'll buy a phone case or they'll buy a keychain or something like that, because like the puppy isn't worth a $250 product right now. Plus, that's going above and beyond. But the whole point is that allows you to decide what you sell, right? And then why your products matter. How does the customer use that? If you just put the product, a design on every product, they're not going to use half of those products. But you are worried about missing out because you want to make sure you make a sale. So instead, if you go to intentionality, then all of a sudden, visibility, the platform understands, visibility increases, learning speeds up, the algorithm is more kind to you, and sales start to make more sense, okay? And most sellers don't need more ideas. They just need a clearer structure. So can we discuss this a little bit? Let me see the comments. I've been reading off my script, so now I need to see the comments. And everyone's saying, yes, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, good. So that's D. Witten. Thank you. I'm just a new person. Welcome. Elena, yes. And Shireen. Yes, Shireen. Absolutely. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions is that we don't focus on what we have and what we bought to put something up. We decide first who we're serving and what we're serving them with. Total flip means that it'll actually be more intentional, which means we'll have a better chance of selling in the first place, okay? So that's why you're inconsistent, because you don't have a targeted, focused amount. And let's just talk about this a little bit more. And thank you, Alex, for also mentioning that you think so. And then CM Brenda, okay, Connie, definitely that concept of making intentional products is what helped me the most. Awesome. Exactly. And listen, even like Connie can tell you, it's not breadth, it's depth. I like that. It's not on my script. I made it up just now, but it's not breadth, it's depth. Because once you know that you've targeted something already that's working, then you can go deeper and deeper and deeper. And even though you're making more and more products to help that deeper need, you are facilitating what people are like, what people want and need and will pay money for, right? And they're not here to like you so they'll buy your stuff. It's not a family member who's doing you a favor of buying your stuff so you make a sale, okay? It's a customer who is truly like that. Basically, you did testing, the customer said yes, and now you have a proven concept that's going to get you sales. So then expand on that proven concept by providing more things that they want to purchase, okay? Which is awesome. I love that. And so you don't have to get like broader and broader, you get deeper and offer more things that the people want, because you already have that little window where you got to peek through, okay? Awesome. Thank you so much for all the comments. Okay, now what about point number 3? I'm going to pull up the banner and let's see what this one is. The shift that changes everything. Okay. Ooh. The shift that changes everything. What do I have on my script so that I don't go off script too much? So what actually changes things? The biggest shift happens when sellers stop asking, what should I design today? And asking, who am I selling to? And what do they actually want to buy? Or what I like to do actually is go one step further and say, how could I serve them so that they will open their wallets? Okay. It's a little bit different, but it says the same thing. So who am I selling to and what do they actually want to buy? So put in the chat, do you design like that? Or do you design, what should I design today? So do you have a focus or no focus? I need a sip of my tea. So just a second here, put it in the chat so I can see what people are saying. No new comments yet. Come on. I can't tell you what's really going to change things unless I see comments. I love doing these. Who likes these series? Let me know. But that's already 2 questions. I want you to answer the first one. Oh, I'm not getting any participation yet. Come on, focus. Thank you, Connie. Okay. Yes. And Connie's witnessed that. And Connie, you're already a gold or almost a gold. I think you're almost a gold now, which means that she's almost made $100,000 in profit. Learning. Okay. I love the series. Awesome. And I have a plan, but sometimes I drift away from it. Good. Thank you. See, awareness is 80% of the whole thing. A lot of people don't want to be aware of it, and then they actually go like, "I'm doing fine. I don't understand why it's not working." And it's like it's because you're actually not even in belief of the fact that you're doing something that's not helping you. Okay, not quite, but close to gold. Absolutely, yes. I'm excited for you. Okay, and I think about being inspired, but no, I should have a plan. Absolutely, and you know what? Um, when you get to the point where your Zazzle business becomes boring, but you're making the most amount of money, you've actually hit the jackpot. Yeah. And a lot of our top sellers actually do get bored and then they realize, "Ooh, I've got to get back on track." Yeah. Because once you've made something that really is working, you keep leveraging it, not, going outside the box. Think about any like Starbucks, for example, and they come up with all these weird flavors of coffees depending on the season, right? But really, their big staples are still what sells them the most. They can have fun making pumpkin spice latte or whatever they've got out now for January. I don't know. Um, but in the end, if you look at their numbers, it's still the core coffee, the core tea that sells the most for them, right? The others are a little bit of a distraction just to make it interesting, but they're selling their core products, and that's what you want to do as a business. Okay, so what is that shift? Okay, so this is where consistency begins. Let's just put it that way, because once that's clear, product ideas become easier. You're not fretting about what to do. You already know that certain products sell in that niche, and therefore that's what you put it on, your design on, right? Titles and tags become more like easier to come up with, or even you're very familiar with them because you've already had experience getting those to work. So if you've listed a product and you have certain titles and tags, you don't have to reinvent the wheel if it's another product that has like those other titles and tags that you already had on this other product that sold work on this new product. And so you don't need to reinvent anything. You just use the same titles and tags and then just add, like, let's say switched it from dog to cat, or like pink to purple or something. So that those change obviously, but the other things stay the same on the use and the design and like the style, which is all the things that you were supposed to do, because you're supposed to have this variety of different different parts of describing the product or the design in your title and your tags, right? Like, what is it? What's the purpose? What's the design style? What the colors? Like, what are other things that people look for, like modern, classic, retro, etc. Okay, so if you know that because you've already narrowed it in, there's less concern about, I don't think I know what this is. Instead, you're starting to create some patterns and learn how to consistently get better and better at selling to this audience for this use. Okay, so you stop second guessing with every upload, and you can finally tell what's working and what isn't. I don't know if I said it better or if I just read it off better, but just so you understand, stop guessing with every upload and tell what's working and what isn't. So when you start to consistently output, then when something works, you know that works. When if it doesn't work, it was a fail, but it knows, then that based on these little parameters here, that doesn't work as well, but I'll stick to this. And so you know what not to do, and you know what to do, which is really awesome. Okay, and consistency doesn't come from motivation. That's really important, because we're all motivated. We're all here. We're spending an hour together going like, help me. And as you're motivated, I can tell. But It doesn't come from motivation. Consistency comes from direction. And that direction comes from building it in the right order. And what does that mean for people? Let me know in the chat what you think that means. Direction comes from building in the right order. Okay. And this is why we always say most sellers aren't stuck because they don't know enough. They're stuck because they don't know what to focus on first. Okay, so and we talked about that here, that the focus really needs to be, what am I, like, who am I serving, and what am I doing to help them be of service to them? Okay. Let's see. We've got some things in the chat. I'll read that and see. Okay. I like the little tidbit about when it gets boring, it's working. I love that too. Yeah, and that's Ella. That's nice to hear from you, or L, sorry, depending on how your name is. And then L says, do same titles and tags work when you fix up an old design because you no longer like the way it's signed originally? Like changing the font or spacing in an invitation. Zazzle won't even, unless you're reposting that product, Zazzle's not going to let you make that many changes on the same product. But if you're what you're meaning is that you're going to repost that design, you fixed it up, and now you're going to use, like, should you use the old titles and tags? If it didn't sell before and it didn't get any views before, you don't use the same titles and tags, obviously. Otherwise, it would have worked already. The titles and tags are what gets you the SEO, which gets the customers looking at your product. Okay, so whether or not the design was any good or not is irrelevant, because you didn't even get views. But if you did get a lot of views on your old product and then you fixed it because you didn't get sales, then definitely keep those old titles and tags so that you can get that same customer coming in, unless the titles and tags are no longer applicable, right? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people here that can give you the same story, but I'll tell you my story. The stuff that used to be bronze then went to copper and then went to rose gold. And every time I had to go back in and change all my titles and tags because it's all the same color and it's all the same metallic, fake metallic upload of the foil. But then no one was searching for copper, no one was searching for bronze, but they were all searching for rose gold. And as soon as I switched it back to rose gold, my stuff started selling again. And so be careful if it's an outdated term that's no longer being searched. Okay. Awesome. I love this. Now we're into section 4. And did I make a banner for that yet? I was working on that. No, I didn't. Okay, so I have one more bonus section for you, and really it's to help you understand that we're going to keep diving deep into this. And if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the chat, because we're kind of coming to the close of this. And we want to make sure that I want to make sure, because it's not we today, that you're catching on and that you want to come and be part of the rest of this, okay? So this is exactly why we're doing this short live series. Over the next few days, we're going to break it down, how to choose a niche and an ideal customer so that your store has focus, how to create products with intention instead of guessing, and how to stop spinning your wheels and start building momentum, okay? Each session builds on the one before it. So if you're watching later this really, like, as a replay, then we really recommend that you watch them in order, okay? And we want to be very clear about something. Not knowing what to do is one thing. Implementing it incorrectly, that's another, okay? So not knowing what to do is one thing. But once you do know what to do and you implement it incorrectly, holy smokes, that's a whole other thing. And that is one of the things that if you've been part of our community for a long time and you've even invested a lot of money with us and you are still at bronze or even just barely making silver, which means that you've made $25,000 in lifetime earnings, then you are not implementing it correctly. Because just like I said, it's not Zazzle's fault. It's also not our training and our framework's fault. It is your impression of how things should be implemented. which is really interesting because as soon as people switch, they start selling. So when sellers finally, and it's not just, I'm not saying any seller, I have a lot of proof from all the coaching clients that we've worked with. When sellers finally start seeing progress, it's usually because they stop trying to piece things together on their own and followed a clear guided process. And it's kind of weird, but I've got some scripts here saying next week we're going to do something special. But yes, I understand where I'm going with this. Okay, it's a prompt for me to help you to remember that we're going to do this free series, but if you want actual attention on your actual store, we're not going to do that here. But for $27, you're going to be part of a boot camp, which we run pretty often, but we're not doing it as much this year. So if you want to get in now. We're going to be doing that next week, and we're going to be doing that really special for anyone who actually wants us to look at their store and to go through the first parts of the training that's needed in order to get that started in the right order. Okay, so we're going to do something very special for those who want to have that help implementing all of this step by step without overwhelm. And we'll share more about that as we get closer. But it's called the Sold Bootcamp, and I'm going to just put the banner on here just so you know. There is a limit as to how many people we can take on because Jen and I do the reviews, and we're going to be reviewing your store. We're going to be reviewing a product that you make that's intentional, and we're going to be reviewing your social media or your promotional stuff. So it's really exciting to be able to help you with that. And it really gives people a lot of peace of mind as to whether or not they're going in the right direction. Okay. So just putting the link in there just in case. I'll also put it in the comments in case someone wants to just click on the link so that you can get in. Now, having said that, all these points that we just made, where it's, the intentionality, the serving, the clear focus of starting in the right spot, not just jumping the gun. How does that resonate with you? Just let me know. Are you currently following that formula? Dolores is now, so she doesn't get to answer. I know she is. But anybody else who's new that hasn't ever done anything like this before with us, or anyone who's in our program that, in our community, but hasn't really seen that result, like even who was it who said that initially, that sales are down or spotty, or I think it's CG Penna, right? Like, let me know, do you feel, even with the training that you've had from us, are you truly implementing the 5 strategy framework, for example, clearly? Because that's what the training is all about. And in the 5 strategies, basically the first thing you're doing is you're establishing your store. So you're doing what we're doing today. We're saying, listen, I've got to figure out who I'm serving, because if I don't serve that person properly, I'm not really establishing a business that's going to work. It's just me throwing stuff out there that I found that I like designing. And that's not a focused, intentional, purpose of a business. And then the second thing is, can I deliver on those things? And how do I deliver on those things, right? And so that's, you have to start at that point. And so many people actually have this hard time saying, I'm only just focused on this one niche or this one customer initially in that niche in order to start my business. Instead, it's like, I actually have plans to do everything. And it's like, okay, good. You do, and you should, but start somewhere. Just like when you do everything, you accomplish nothing. If we focus in, like what we said earlier, then at least there's a better chance of doing, getting success there than there is if you just had surface touch points on each of the bigger pieces that you want to actually have in your store later, and not be able to manage on any of them. And most of the time, actually, when people are that spread thin, then they don't actually see any results, and they think that they failed and that they can't do it. As soon as we put people into a focused point and get them to really do all the work that's needed in that one focused area, all of a sudden they start to make sales, and then their entire belief system about whether they're capable or confident or can do this changes, so that it just becomes like, oh, I'm so excited that it's going to work. So who wants to feel uh, that they're more excited about what they're doing in their business, so that it stays, that you get consistent sales? Yeah, okay. Thank you for your honesty. Okay, so some of you have said not implementing it clearly. Okay, perfect. And obviously you want to know what that implementation is, and what is it that you're not doing yet on that, even though you might have gotten a lot of information already from us. And whether you're on Zazzle specifically, because we are doing this series more for Zazzle, but it doesn't matter if you're on Etsy or Spoonflower or any of these other places where you have a print-on-demand store, you are still using these business principles if you want to do more than just a one-off sale, right? And we want that. We want consistent sales, which means actually working backwards. So if you have, what does it mean to have consistent sales? What does it mean? Like, let's say we even say, okay, we want $100 per week, right? That means we make $500 a month, or sorry, $400 a month. If we even said that, okay, $100 a week, let's say on average, something that you sell, to make the math easier, $5 is your profit take home. Okay, don't worry about clawbacks or anything. Just say, okay, I'm going to make $5 every time someone orders something from me. So, and I'm giving you a higher dollar value, most are lower, so you'd have to work harder. But if you want to make $100 a week, then, and it's $5 that you get in your pocket from the sale, from any sale, then you have to make 20 sales in a week, okay? And if you say, let's just do, okay, I'm going to sell 5 days a week, obviously that's not going to, you can't determine when you're going to sell, but let's say 5 days out of that week, I want to make a sale. And so if it's 20 orders and I have to make sales on 5 days, that means I have to do 4 orders a day. Okay. 4 orders a day. So you can say, okay, I have to make 4 orders of one thing a day, or I can make 2 orders of 2 things, or sorry, I can make, 2 orders of 2 things a day, right? Do the math. So if I have 3 things, I don't have to, like, I just have to make a sale of 3 different products that are going to give me my money, and so on. So let's say now we had 10 products, each giving us $5 in a week. That's already $50. So now if we had 20 products giving us 1 sale per week of $5 return, then we've hit our mark. But unfortunately, and this is the math, and I may have losing people because I don't have any slides to show this, but if you now had 20 products that were consistently giving you 1 sale a week to get your $100 a week to make your $400 a month, then to make those products and get those sellers, you're basically at a 1% chance that you made those sellers. Okay. So if I have 20 products and it's a 1% chance that I am going to make a product that's going to sell to give me that much money every week, then that means I have to multiply that by 100. So that means I have to make 200 products, right? Per one, or sorry, 100 products out of 1. So if I want 20 products, it's 20 times 100, which is 2,000. So I have to have at least 2,000 products to make 20 products sell for me, possibly, right? And so because of that, now everyone's going to go like, oh, I better go make a lot of products. No. 2,000 intentional products. There's a big difference, okay? Random 2,000 products, the percentage of success is even lower. So the fact that you have to have a good amount of inventory to get yourself to a consistent seller rate, even if your products only sell once a week, it's already a lot of products, right? That are intentional that you have to make so that you get that average to work for you. Or you get better at designing them because you're in our courses or in our coaching, and more focused and streamlined. And so all of a sudden you don't have to do 2,000, you just have to do 1,000 or 500. And you get those same 20 products to give you that amount, which would be really cool, right? So now all of a sudden it's manageable because you now are using a lot of thought and research and guidance to be able to narrow down the number of products you need that are intentional because you're focused. And listen, you don't need 20 products selling for you every week. You could sell 10 and help get the more money from each of those 10. So working on the strategy and thinking it through is going to give you, first of all, like someone said, overwhelm in the chat. And it's true. It'll become overwhelming until you take control of it. And I love that part because we can make it less overwhelming and more in control, even though there are factors that we can't control. We can make it more controllable. Yeah. Okay. And the overwhelm is real. I understand that I need to just pick one niche, but I overthink it too much and can't choose. But just pick one to start with. You can even promise yourself that maybe the next month you do another niche, right? But if you just give it 1 month and focus only on not just a niche, but because niches are big too, right? You can pick wedding as a niche, or you can pick birthdays as a niche. And then you go like, well, what am I supposed to do? And so you can get even more focused than that, and then really research, understand what needs to be delivered as an intentional product, and also just have fun with it, right? Don't just go like, oh, this is so hard. Instead go like, how exciting is this? Look at all these gorgeous products and look at like what potential there is in terms of selling stuff. And then D. Witten says, thanks for the intentional number, that threshold. This gives me something to work towards in the short term. I don't have anywhere close to 1,000 now. And what's really cool is, and I will be jumping the gun here because I want to just say that our new Profit by Design Academy, even though we've always told you do 100 intentional products a month, are in our new Profit by Design Academy, which we just released in September of last year. We have what's called a PDA playbook. And in that playbook, it tells you exactly what products to make and exactly what designs to put on them and exactly what titles and tags, exactly where to put it in a store category, exactly what collections to put them in, exactly where to like what boards to pin them on Pinterest, the whole thing. Okay. And so because of that, then you get to study that playbook so that you can fully comprehend what needs to be done for 5 different niches that you're targeting, which I know I said that go niche in, but here actually the PDA playbook is giving you all the things that you would have had to figure out on your own by focusing in. It's actually giving you the 5 main niches that do work, where you should be able to get some sales, and it's telling you what products and designs to use and make so that you can go through a whole month and get those designs and products out there, and then start to realize that you can do that over and over again using the playbook month after month. I love it. It's the most that we've ever given away in terms of our system and the order in which you do things, which is how it's a really great way to end this off. Okay. And that way you end up doing 100 products a month. So by the end of the year, you'll have 1,200 products, which is exactly what D. Witten needs. Okay. And they're evergreen products, which means that you're not wasting your time selling or making something that's going to sell this year and not next year, or not, it's only going to sell in January and not the rest of the month. These are evergreen, which are supposed to sell every single day of the year and every year from now on. Hopefully. I can't make any income claims. You have to still put your twist on it, but I'm giving you as much as I can. All right. This is a video series mentioned in the notes. What's that? Ruth says, there is a video series mentioned in the notes after your 7-part series. It seemed it was to help new people set up their store. Is that still available? Yes, it is. it should be in there. I think there was a glitch and it went to a 404 non-linked link, but we fixed it. So it should be in there now. I'll go back to that video. I don't have it with me on hand, but our older videos should have the link where it says, yeah. And if it doesn't, you can email me at support@elkaclark.com and our team will give you that. Okay. All right. This has been really awesome. Do you have any questions just before we leave? Because we've been on almost for an hour, and tomorrow's is even a better, like it's diving deeper into the next topic, which is going to be how to choose your niche and ideal customer so you can start selling faster. And again, tomorrow's and the next days is going to be a little bit more focused on generalities. But if you want us to literally look at your store, see what your design capabilities are, etc., then use the boot camp, because we're going to do that in private. Take our own time. We're going to give you three sessions of training, like 3 times 1 hour training. Then you do the work, and then you're going to get feedback specifically with what you did in your store and also your product designs, etc. Okay. And that's only $27, and you definitely should get into that if you would like, as sort of the beginner thing for anyone who's. And so Ruth, if that other training is free, and definitely go and do it, but it's gonna give you like some feedback if you want to be part of our Soul Bootcamp, so you can really feel like you're getting somewhere, not just watching videos. Okay. Can we sign up for the bootcamp tomorrow? You can sign up for the bootcamp now and just reserve your spot, but you can just sign up for it tomorrow for sure. Okay. Yes, we'll be offering it all this week, but make sure you get in before we start next Monday, which is when we start. Okay. And then Elena says the PDA is great. So yes, and just full disclosure, the Soul Bootcamp is to just a little bit of a taste of our coaching, and the first little bit of like the steps. But then if you want to jump right into all the rest of the training so that you can keep going and working on your Zazzle store and get all of the direction in that playbook that I was talking about, then obviously the PDA, which is the Profit by Design Academy, is also available. And you can even just go jump right into that if you want. But if you want to give us a test run first, the Soul Bootcamp is definitely there for you. And then the enrollment for both are open right now, but I'm not even going to send the link to the PDA. You just try it out first in the Soul Bootcamp. See if it's your thing, if Zazzle's your thing, and if you like our coaching. Okay, thank you so much. We will see you tomorrow, and same time, same place, and let's keep talking about all this. It's awesome. Thank you so much for all your participation today. This is what's going to make the difference. If you're that involved, you start to realize I can ask more and more questions and get the help I need, instead of it just being a big black hole. Okay, see you tomorrow. Okay, bye.